my fingers to the bone. I never get to go home. This is my ever wanted life, manifest destiny. I work my fingers to the bone. I never get to go home. This is my ever wanted life, manifest destiny. Damn, I destroyed myself, but you contributed. I destroyed myself, but you helped. I destroyed
Hello, everybody. This is Johnathan Grissom from Morebands Media and the local Earshot podcast. I am here. This is episode 121, and I'm here with Wilson, one of the original members of the team that started this podcast. He is back home from what was it? You were in Arkansas or some shit?
Arkansas.
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 Why would you name a place Arkansas? Like fucking.
Why is this one Kansas, but this one is not Arkansas?
I don't know. They call what is it? Texarkana.
Texas.
Is that Texas,
Yeah.
Arkansas?
Yeah,
like
something
that's
like
the name
that.
of a city. Like Broken Bow.
Broken
You ever
Bow.
been to Broken Bow? It's like in the middle of fucking nowhere.
All of Arkansas is the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh
as far
yeah,
as I'm
yeah. But I saw
concerned.
ZZ Top at Riverfest up there at like on a TDY.
Oh, yeah?
in Arkansas. Yeah,
Right
they're
on.
cool as shit. The motherfuckers are aliens. But the problem is though is that it kind of went against my theory recently because I found out that one of them actually died like 2 years ago. Finally,
Yeah, the bass player.
yeah, and I've been seeing a lot of posts on him and stuff. But yeah, I saw that he passed away, and I was like, damn, I'm 2 years late on that shit. Like, not even noticing that dude was gone. But I literally thought that they were aliens because they're so old and still rocking on stage like they do.
Dude,
But-
I'm really surprised that they hadn't died yet. Like, I saw them in concert at the Zoo Amphitheater. The Leonard Skinner was opening for them. And whenever they came out on stage, like, music sounded great. It's obvious that they've, like, really practiced this shit. And since you've been doing it for, like, as long as they have, you know,
Oh, they don't miss a beat.
they don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
But then the guy who was the bass player actually, like, kind of fumbled on stage like he was about to fall backwards. And you can kind of, like, see through his clothes, like, how skinny he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. As you get older, it's just harder to keep yourself. Like, they were using the mic stands to really hold themselves up, kind of like the way that Bob Dylan is now. You know?
You imagine going on the stage and seeing like how you see like a lot of older people nowadays where they have like walkers and shit.
Yeah.
And you just see like some famous person like AC/DC or some shit, and he's like has a walker, and he comes out there and he has a guitar sitting on the walker, and then he like picks up the guitar and just starts playing it on the walker, just holding it like every once in a while, wheeling it around the stage.
It's hilarious.
The really famous ones, they'd be on like the motor scooters coming
Right.
around.
I don't know how some of them are alive. Like fucking Keith Richards. I'm surprised that's not what Keith Richards is doing. Like coming out there on the walker and then just like swinging the guitar around, all shaking.
Oh, shaking, shake it! You gonna shake it?
And then he starts to play and he like stops shaking. He's like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da." It's like that's the way that I see them
This is
going.
his Twitch.
Yeah, it's just. Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh my god.
How have you been, man?
Oh, I've been all right. I've just been. I'm enrolled into ACM. It's like one of the music schools here.
Right
Although
on.
somebody was telling me the OSU one's better, but honestly, I could totally not. I mean, I could totally see it because like OSU. The only way to explain this school, I went there back in like 2004 for computer technology.
Right.
And it's really like it's known like OU is known for medical and lawyer type stuff,
Right.
right? But OSU is known for everything else. Like they have schools on tech, they have schools in culinary, they got schools on just all sorts of stuff.
Right.
So we got a cat in the room. It was like my little cat. She's a little sweetheart. But yeah, like they have all sorts of stuff. So when somebody told me, well, why didn't you go to the music business school at OSU? And I'm like thinking, well, because UCO is like right here in Oklahoma City, whereas the other one's in Stillwater. It's like I'm not going to move to Stillwater to go to school again.
Right.
know?
Like you go to OSU for like their agricultural program, which they have it's like what they're known for, because you see a bunch of like cattle farms and ranches around like a lot of Oklahoma in general, but specifically around OSU. Like that's one of the things that they're better known for. there's also, depending on the kind of media that you want to get into, OCCC has like a world-renowned film program because they actually have. Somebody told me that they actually use the same cameras that they used to shoot Breaking Bad. Like Breaking Bad would rent the cameras from OCCC, take it out
The
to
community college?
Yeah.
No shit.
Well, it's because like red cameras are like $80,000, bro.
Yeah.
Like these days, and that's just the body alone. That's not any of like the lenses or nothing. And OCCC was like funded and sponsored by like people like Francis Ford Coppola. He actually came there to do like a sit down and talk about how like he discovered George Lucas and all this other stuff, which was kind of crazy to see. And OCCC's got a lot of really great recommendations. I was recently just taking guitar lessons from a guy named Dave who used to teach over at ACM, and he was telling me about like just all the different investments and stuff that they've made into that program. So like, yeah, there's a good program out at OSU, but you're also out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
And I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, Stillwater's out in the middle of nowhere, like I'm bashing Oklahoma. It's not that at all. It's that a lot of the people that are coming here as far as connections are going to places like ACM because you can meet a ton of people there. People who not only are going there for courses, but who are actually active in the community.
Yeah, I know, and that's
in the
what
city, too.
that's what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like I'm active in the community, but I'm like going there for the idea of being able to meet like-minded people that are trying to do similar things.
Right.
For what my goals are, and so I mean, it's and then you know. Like I said, you know, some of the people were telling me that I should have done audio production or video production, and I'm like, well, you know, like I'll learn at all that stuff anyway in the process of hanging out with all those people. I mean, like that's the idea is that if you I'm gonna be that old man that's probably just hanging out at the school just because like these students, a lot of them, when you first go to college, like this is something I always stress the younger people. Know what you really want to fucking do in life before you start spending money on shit. Because like when you go to school and then 04 and stuff like that, I just realized I didn't want to you know do that like as a field and so like I was really good with computers and everything like that, and I didn't, it was just boring to me. Like I wasn't challenged. Like, and it's weird that I wasn't challenged by that, but so then I ended up dropping out, and it was because I was partying all the time, just getting drunk at the thing, and that's what most people do when they first go to college the first time. They party, they hang out and stuff like that, unless they're dedicated nerd kids back in high school. They ain't gonna fucking sit down and do their homework. They're gonna fucking go out and hang out with their friends. They're gonna party. And so, I mean, that tends to happen for a lot of my friends that never graduated, and that was in other states too, that they would just party all the time. So, like, it's one of those you have to know that that's really what you want to do. When I went to school for business, it's what I really wanted to do, you know. And so, like, I actually sit down and went to class and did my homework and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you know, you look at the amount of money that people spend on college, and it's ridiculous. And so, like, what my plan is that as long as the VA pays their part, then all that other money is just my money to do into this, to buy cameras, to get me started, to start going down a path of like an actual show. And and so that's the goal, you know.
And I can't really, college in general is grossly overpriced. Just for what it is. I mean, the average professor makes like $70,000 a year. Not a lot of people realize that. The amount of money that it takes to, like, you're funding the facility. I actually met a guy that was doing a startup who was trying to make it to where, like, most of the funds that you would pay, like, you'd still pay the same amount of tuition, but the buildings were a lot smaller. And all of that could go towards the curriculum and the teachers and back to the students, things like that. And I don't want it to seem like I'm dissing education. That's not what that is, right? But like we were just talking about how the other day where you said that you were like getting DaVinci Resolve or some kind of video editor, right? Mm-hmm. I was looking up a video. Here's what a lot of people really don't understand. I think a degree is important if you're doing something like becoming a surgeon. That's not something that you can learn from YouTube. I can learn how to edit something on DaVinci Resolve through a YouTube channel. I can't learn open heart surgery from YouTube.
Right.
So
no, and that's the thing. I fully agree with that statement. I think even that during that conversation, I mentioned that, you know, like, yeah, you know, if you're going to be a lawyer, if you're going to be a politician, you know, even they have to go to school for that. That's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of politicians, they go to like a lot of law schools and stuff to know what they're talking about.
Yeah, before they even decide, like some of them don't even like go into it wanting to be politicians necessarily, but they just know like there's so many different avenues, like legal avenues, that lead you to certain places. And when I studied for audio and video production, like I got my degree in 2 years, and the number one rule whenever we sat down in class is like, whatever you do, you cannot be on YouTube and you cannot be on Vimeo. Like they didn't want us using any kind of outside resource. And it's because you find out later, like, oh, I could have learned this exact same course at home for free, instead of what you're paying for is like a place to sit down and actually do the practices and doing it out of the like Adobe handbooks of how to do, which I have copies of myself. And it's not anything too crazy. I think that it is great to have a dedicated place to like try to hone your craft, because it's hard like not having your own studio, you know, just as a given. But, you know, as far as like we were talking earlier about like people like, oh, why don't you just study more about the audio and video aspect of it? It's like, you can sit down and learn everything about a particular software in like an hour. If you're like,
I learned my P8 mixer in like I watched a bunch of Zoom videos and learned the mixer that I use on a daily with this show. I learned every little feature on it in like a couple hours, because I just sat down and watched it and understand how it works now.
And it's easier to do that when you can actually have the patience to sit down and go over it. The thing that I think is the most important when it comes to education and like what you're trying to do at ACM is just making connections. Like you're meeting people that are actually that are credible in the music industry, because you can't do that from home.
Yep. And I think I want to find people that are understanding that there is actual guiding policies, laws, regulations that are in the music industry. And these rules are found in most states. If you move to California and you try to go to Hollywood and you try to do certain things with the industry there, if you try to move to New York, you're going to find that almost every location you go to, somebody's going to hand you a contract to sign if you're even going to do a show that night.
Right.
Whereas you know, when it comes to like Oklahoma, there's a lot of handshake deals. There's a lot of things that are not related to the actual music industry. And ACM kind of set out, and I was talking to one of their advisors, said that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create that scene, that thing, and that's why they chose to do that as a platform in a state like this. Oklahoma is growing in entertainment. I mean, there's a new venue being built by Live Note. Live Note is a real estate company who's like fairly new, works in building venues and commercial things. They just basically grab rich people that want to do things like that. So they're building a venue out there by Mustang, and I'm wondering if it's going to be a Live Nation venue. It'd probably be a Live Nation Presents, if anything, mainly because it looks like that the size and everything, that the type of show that it's going to be able to produce, it's an outdoor venue, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be able to produce shows the size of like your larger venues, similar to like Zoo Amp and things like that.
Right.
And so, I mean, Criterion's like it's growing. They're doing a lot more bigger shows coming through now. And then the Beer City Music Hall, they're doing a lot of stuff there. But apparently the people that run Criterion, the Tower, all those, they actually run Beer City too. So they're almost there's like 5 venues in downtown that are owned by the same group of people, and they're all trying to bring in new acts and bigger acts. And it's a little harder because we're kind of in what they call a flyby zone in a way, or even a drive-by zone, I guess you want to call it that, because they'll play shows in Tulsa and they'll play shows in Dallas, but a lot of artists don't come through Oklahoma City unless they got a market here. And most country singers have a market here. Yeah. Most metal bands, they don't really have as big a market here, and so they don't come through. They might play the Diamond Ballroom, but yeah, they don't have as big a market, and so like they won't come through.
No, the closest thing that we have to that is whenever we have like Rocklahoma every year, and even then, the majority of them are like name brand kind of bands. Like it's like was it like Godsmack and Slipknot and so you have the bigger names, and then they let all the smaller bands play throughout the time before the opening shows in the evening. Mm-hmm. But even then, that's like 1 week out of the year. That's not like a regular thing. And it's not really upsetting to see, but they're also like, where does it take place again? Rocklahoma takes place.
It's like in what city is that?
It's in the middle
Hinton
of
or
fucking.
something? Like it's
yes,
yeah, it's in nowhere.
it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's no like close by hotels. You have to reserve the hotels like 3 months in advance if you want to get a place to stay. If you're not going out there doing it like Sturgis, like if you're going out there with an RV or something like that. And it's the same with the country music fest that they have in Eufaula every year. There's no like decent place to stay unless you get the room like months in advance. There's beer mud everywhere. It's like a live outdoor venue, and it's a lot of fun for a couple of days. But that's it.
Yep.
And they only do that maybe once a year. After the whole COVID situation, that kind of like threw off several places for a loop. But you know, that's really what we have. And then for like more metal shows, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like the 89th is bringing in the same kind of crowd that it used to like 10 years ago.
Yeah, the 89th used to be nuts, like the conservatory and then the Green Door before that. Like they had a stage on the other side. It was like a bar, like in there.
Right.
I guess you can go in that area if you're underage because it was an all-age venue. But then they had an area sit on the side for the bar side. But the stage side was different because like now it's like it's all facing like a different direction. But then it was like everybody was packed in this little area.
Yeah.
And everybody was just like headbutting each other and stuff. Like you'd move your arms, you'd hit somebody else. And I mean, I've never actually been in a single venue since I've been home, and I've been home for about 5-6 years now. Since I got out of college, like because I was 2017 was when I moved back.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't been. I would come home and visit, and I just slowly saw it dwindling. And all the venues shutting down, and so like whenever I would come and visit, we'd go to City Walk, we'd go to like certain bars downtown and stuff, and I just slowly started seeing the crowds get less and less, and then like now it's like, I mean, you can move around a venue now. I mean, it's nice, you know, to be able to move around a venue, but at the same time, it's like you know, like the crowds are a lot less than what they used to be back then.
Yeah,
and that's where we're trying to change that to get it back to that way where it's like a city where people know, you know, there's a lot of talented artists in Oklahoma City. I will still defend that argument forever because I mean I've lived all over and I've seen local bands from all over, and in Oklahoma City there's just this thing. I don't know if it's related to our history with like country music. I don't know what it is, but people here enjoy making music and they enjoy playing music, and maybe it's because like a lot of times in music you get a lot of emotion, you get a lot of like you're talking about like you know, your writings and stuff like that. It's very very like depressing type stuff, and Oklahoma can be a depressing place, so it like kind of fits that you could write really good music that it really conveys like what this place really is and what it's like. But I mean, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But like
No,
I know,
no.
but
It's
I know a
just-
lot of like metal. You know, I know a lot of good music out here. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of miss the days where I like feared for my life when I went to the 89th, but that's when you knew it was going to be a good show. But I don't like the stigma around Oklahoma, like, because we give it a lot of crap, right? Like, I shared a post or something about Sylvester Stallone, right, saying like, you know, working in Oklahoma has prepared me for a lifetime in hell if I ever
Yeah,
go there.
you know the funny thing about that meme was when I mentioned that to somebody, they had to correct me that shit was like a year and a half old. They were like, "Yeah, it's just now coming out as a meme, but it's like a year and a half old." I don't give a shit. I think
Right?
I thought it was fucking funny. Like,
Yeah,
what do
it's
you?
just funny.
What?
I showed that same meme to my mom, and she got offended by it. She's like, "I don't like that. I don't."
He's
want
talking about the
people to say
heat.
that."
He was actually talking about the heat.
I know. It's just,
But
she was-
the
she took it the wrong
underlining
way.
joke of that is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, you know, hey, it got me ready for hell. Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it got me ready for hell, and so
You
it's
know.
it's funny, and like I harp on Oklahoma a lot, but like just in the time that I've been traveling for my work, like I have an office over in Austin, and Austin is just crazy, like the way that it blew up. And I was there with Johnathan Wilson too. He worked with me there for a short amount of time, and he was like, "Man, I haven't been here in like a decade, and it's just like it's turning into California or some shit."
Yeah.
And it's just wild to see. And not that it's a bad thing necessarily. It's great to see like some things become more developed, become better, because there used to be a time. I used to live over at 24th and Chartel, over there by like where the bunker is now. And 10 years ago, you couldn't walk down the street without feeling like uncomfortable or unsafe or whatever. It felt super freaking ghetto. And now, just going into it today, there's like all these different restaurants. They've just completely like gentrified the way that it looks. And I'm not mad about it. I'm kind of mad that I'm not living there anymore, because now it actually seems like a place where you want to stay. Because I used to get woken up every night by the ambulance coming across the street at the apartment complex.
Yeah.
Somebody getting shot or stabbed or stealing drugs.
And I mean, there's still areas like that. It's like what the Fillmore Auditorium was in Denver. Denver, like there's this whole area, Colfax in Denver, and I used to do the management stuff, like with the management team over at the Fillmore, like. They would tell us that if you're, and it was definitely if you're a female, they would tell you this, but they would tell you that if you're walking to your car, they were like, you try to find a good parking spot that's close. Some of us kind of knew where to park, but because we figured out what areas and how early to get to the venue and things like that, but so we knew where to go. But they said if you park at the venue, or if you park out there, like find a good spot. And make sure you stay in the light when you're walking to the venue, and it was like, just be careful when you're walking back and forth to your car at night. And it was like 2:00 at night, and that you would leave the venue. By the time we leave the venue, sometimes it's 4 a.m, and we'd be leaving the venue. Some of us would probably go to like a diner and get some food, but we'd be like finishing a show, and the show would end at around 1 or 2 EDM shows. And then we would actually get home at around 4, and so in that 2-hour period or whatever, people are leaving, coming and going from the venue. It was crazy, because like you'd have to, like, as long as there's mass population, everybody's outside, that's fine. But whenever there's nobody out and you're walking to your car, it was kind of scary. And like and they were told, like, that area in Colfax and stuff. I mean, I was working one night, and I'm outside. I think I've told this story before, I don't remember, but I was sitting outside. And I'm on the side of the building, and this guy comes up, and it's still daylight, and he goes, "You could have been a dentist, you could have been a doctor, but instead, you had to be a crackhead." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I turn and look, and this guy, he pulled a pipe out from his pocket, and he started smoking crack, and he was smoking crack inside the building. And I'm like, what the fuck is this, So I get on the radio, and I said, hey, you have any cops available? And they're like, the cop comes over to the radio, and he goes, yeah, man, what's up? And I was like, yeah, we got a guy out here. He's smoking crack. And the cop goes, is he hurting anybody? And I was like, no, he's just walking, smoking crack. And he goes, all right, well, just keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't hurt nobody. If he does, or does anything crazy, or just starts yelling at anybody, he goes, then let us know. We'll come out there and take care of it. He goes, other than that, that's a lot of paperwork, so I don't want to deal with that.
It's our tax dollars.
Yeah,
work, ladies.
yeah. So he was like, I don't want to deal with that. So I was like, okay. And then this guy just kind of waddled off while he was smoking crack. And I mean, that was a normal occurrence. Same guy. One night, we're on the front of the venue, and he's asking people for money. And he's just like, these motherfuckers won't give me no fucking money. And he's like, just yelling at people that are trying to go to this show. And you're talking a line of like 300 people trying to get into a venue, like a couple of 100 people just all in line. And this guy's just like walking by. I'm like, can I get some money? And then they tell him no. And he's like, these motherfuckers won't give me no money. And he would just like fucking do that all night, just yelling at people. And we're just like, God, man, like, and the cop's like, you need to go somewhere else. like that's all they can tell him. They're like, you're in public, go somewhere else, And so he just walked off again. But that same guy all the time, just hanging out that area of Colfax, always on drugs, always just yelling at people. So saying is that's pretty common out there. And I noticed how bad it got in Denver, where whenever there's parks there, people would do heroin and they'd just be like laying in the park. So they'd just be strung out, just laying in the fucking park, because they had certain laws that would abide by that stuff. But that's basically what you kind of like whenever they do a lot of that. The gentrification is not always bad, but it's like it it's still, I don't know, a lot of that crime stuff ain't going nowhere in the cities. Like it ain't in Oklahoma City ain't no different. I hate that whole like that trope of like, oh well, it's a major city, and to say that there you want to live in Chicago to live here, whatever, New York, and all that. But I'm like, but I mean, like there's parts of Oklahoma City are just as bad. So like I don't know, like
That's how John found me.
and that's where all the good venues are,
Right. That's how John found me. He found me outside the Jones Assembly, just smoking crack. And he said,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah,
man."
the Jones Assembly, right outside off of Sheridan in the nice district.
It's like, you want to be friends? You want to start a podcast? And I'm like, give us some money.
Give us some money. I need some money.
I need some help.
I need some help. I need some cocaine. No,
Some cocaine. Some cocaine.
so like this weekend, was it this weekend? Yeah, it was this weekend. Went to the Blue Note.
Yeah, we went there. Was it Friday night? No, Saturday. We were there Saturday. Yeah.
To see the mighty PerseuS.
Dum, dum, da, 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 dum, dum.
Yeah. No, the PerseuS fucking awesome band. Chris
They are.
Gomez, like shout out to him. He's he's really like you have to, I don't know, it looked like they added another guitarist, but like you have to play to be in that band. Like you can't just be like, oh, I play guitar, I'm gonna go play in a rock band. Like you have to be able to handle a guitar like it's like your little fucking toy, like I mean you have to know how to fucking play, because like they have strap locks on their fucking guitars, which is like that, it's like a little padding, and then you tap it with tape right on the edge so where the strings don't just bust off and hit you in the hand whenever you're playing so hard.
Right.
And that's all of their members. Like when you look at their guitars, like they all have that. They all have like these pads around the end of their guitar because it's holding those strings down to the guitar,
Right.
so they don't break. I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, yeah, they're about to put that shit through some work, like that. It's not easy, but yeah. And then Nevermind The Embers is Yoon, or as a lot of people in the community like to do it, which I mean, no, he hates it when I do this, but fuck Yoon, and that's a good old Christoph Murdoch, TM, it's a trademark for Christoph Murdoch. He's a trademark.
Trademarked.
Yeah, trademark. It's he big old tall Indian guy. He always, he's in a band with Yoon, and he's always like fuck Yoon, like during the shows.
Fuck you.
Yeah, but there's the Yoon Apocalypse. If people are interested, that's coming.
Right on.
Yeah, he's about to work on something big. So, but yeah, he's in Nevermind The Embers, and then what is the other band?
It was Nevermind The Embers, PerseuS, and
Yeah, so it's a Pariah System. Yeah, and so I mean, but really, really good show. Very talented musicians, like all of them. I mean, they're like I always enjoy the Blue Note. But I know you've been hanging out there a lot. Like, what kind of stuff they've been doing over there?
well, recently, one of the bartenders, her name is Liz, is no longer bartending there in particular, but she is helping one of her friends set up a karaoke night there every Tuesday, or as best they can. They just recently started doing it. And it's kind of cool. I mean, you get to go up on the stage and actually sing the songs, whereas like in most average bars where they do karaoke, you just kind of like walk around the bar, try to find a place to sing. But they're actually letting them like get up on the stage and do their own thing. So that's kind of cool. But, I really like what they've done with the Blue Note. I remember going there probably like, I think the last time that I went there, aside from recently, was about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck. It's different.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Well,
only,
I mean,
like, one pool table
it's
now.
Chris Simon.
Right.
And I don't know if you've met him yet, but
I've heard the name. I haven't like met him officially.
yeah, he'll hang out there on Sundays usually when he comes up there. He'll stop in the Lost Highway too, usually from time to time. Yeah, he was the owner of the Hilo, and
Gotcha.
so when the Hilos shut down, well, I guess like this weird situation, but whenever we saved the Hilo, and then it ended up shutting down anyway because they got bought out by some other company that's gonna
Nice.
make some stuff out of it, I guess. So they're gonna redo the whole building. if I showed you those plans. I'm not gonna talk bad about things. So like I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, they're fucking horrible, because most of my friends have already done that. But that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean there was like, I like the high-low. It's okay. I like the Speakeasy. It seems like a decent place. I really like the price of the drinks over at high-low, but I haven't been there in a hot minute. And is the Drunken Fry still open?
No, that's what I'm saying, is that the high-low and the Drunken Fry are gone.
Right.
And so whenever they shut down, Chris ended up partnering with some people, and then he ended up opening up buying the Blue Note, and then to remodel the Blue Note. And so that's kind of where the remodel came in. He even put a lot of his own money into that place at the end, because he was trying to get it back open, because there was whenever they did it, it was in the midst of like the pandemic and stuff, and so they did all this remodeling, and then they were trying to get it open in time. So they had a lot of like soft opening and hard opening, and then it was just like finally they fully opened. A lot of work. A lot of people that I know they put a lot of work and effort into that building. Like a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that place to make it what it is now.
It's like emphasis on the blood, sweat, and tears, because it was other people's blood, sweat, and tears too. It was like it was like that for a while. Which it would have been really cool to see like as some kind of like really big grand like when I walked into the Blue Note here recently, like Jesus, it's a completely different place just from the way, and they're trying to get it back there now, like between putting stickers in the bathroom, and that's what you can expect. Like
yeah. I mean,
like,
it's
a certain sense of the soul to it too.
Yeah, I mean, you can still keep the feel and have the stickers, all that kind of stuff. My thing is that like I hate when people destroy things, but like
Right.
bathrooms and things like that. Like somebody was like, yeah, I miss the old Blue Note because it's not as punk rock and metal as it used to be. And it's like, dude, I'm sorry, but I like the fact that if I walk in the bathroom, there's a goddamn lock on the door whenever I use the bathroom.
Right.
And also there's like 2 private bathrooms outside. Yeah. So like, I mean, like there's enough bathrooms to find a place to, to actually use it. They're clean. They're not being maintained there. They have somewhat okay plumbing. Got, like a lot of the city plumbing got redone out there. So I mean, I was like, it's actually really nice. It's better than pissing in a goddamn trough, which is what they used to have. They used to have a big ass trough that you'd piss in and fucking, call it good, and the doors were always fucking open, so like everybody walked by and shit, you fucking, whatever. Yeah. But it was the same way with like Lost Highway. Lost Highway is like a really nice venue. It's very well designed. Scott Pepper, R.I.P. on him, because he's an awesome dude. He put a lot of effort into building that place. But I hate it whenever I go into like the bathrooms or like certain parts of the building, and they just like people just do things to mess it up, to make it look like shit. And it's like, why?
Kind of disrespectful.
I want it to look grungy. It's like, I guess, like,
you
but
can do that at home too. Yeah. You don't need to like.
You can tear up your own goddamn house. Stop trying to tear up venues, But
that's my biggest peeve. Like, I don't mean to cut you up, but my biggest peeve with like going out and drinking at places is like the bathroom inconvenience, and some of them just being so fucking divey. And it's one thing to want to go out and visit with your friends. It's another thing when like there's only one stall in a bathroom where everybody's there to drink. Like I don't take a piss break very often, but when you're like, chugging down beers and throwing back shots, I have to pee like every 30 minutes at that point. And it's just kind of frustrating to see. That's why I always stop at places like On Cue nowadays. For one, it feels like it's a little bit more spacious, and the bathrooms are always super clean.
Yep.
And it's not that like I stopped at a gas station where somebody hadn't seen me in a long time. He's like, man, I hadn't seen you. Part of the reason that I stopped going there even before I moved is because like the bathrooms are just terrible. It smelled awful.
Yeah, and so I mean that's a big part of it, is that like and then their outdoor patio area is really, really cool. Like I actually like that. You can go out there and just chill, watch TV. Sure. They allow you to smoke marijuana there. So like if it, anywhere you can smoke cigarettes, you can smoke marijuana, but as long as it's posted that it's okay to do it, because some venues will post it the other way and say no smoking, so then you're not supposed to do it. But
and that's just cigarettes and weed. Like it's not, they don't want you smoking anything else.
No, nothing else. They'll be bringing out your crack rig and
don't be that guy.
and yelling at people and telling people that you're that you could have been a dentist because obviously half your fucking teeth are missing. You're not a fucking dentist, all right? And I mean, and you definitely. I mean, I guess you could be a doctor. I mean, I don't know what kind of doctor you could be. I mean,
Dr. Love.
Dr. Love. Dr. Love in the drug trade. But yeah.
Call me Dr. Love.
But you want to do a music break?
Yeah, let's take a music break.
All right. So I got 3 songs here. I got PerseuS, Signal Degradation. This song, I kind of want to work this one to actually get these numbers up. I mean, like this song, almost all their other songs, I think this is the one that they actually put on a lot of playlists on Spotify.
Right.
I submitted it a lot. So one of their like more known songs. It has over like 79,000 listens on it on Spotify. And so like, but try to get that shit over 80. I mean, at least. I mean, this band's been together for almost 10 years, like 10, 15 years. So, you know, that's awesome. Come on, like help these guys out, you know, get these numbers up. But I mean, but Spotify likes to pay people like shit. So whatever. But Nevermind The Embers and their album, it's their self-titled song, Super Blood Moon. And it's on the album Super Blood Moon. The Signal Degradations by PerseuS is on the album Rise. And then, what did we say the other band, what was that? Pariah System. Final Farewell is the song we'll play from them. The third song may not be on this episode. I don't know. I'm asking them for permission to play their music. So if I don't hear back, then that song will probably get removed. So I don't know. But yeah, we'll take a song break. Probably go grab us something to drink or something. Or smoke a joint or something. I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
recognize what you are. Now and then I see the darkness in you. Your strength, your struggle to make it all through. Revive your feelings with thoughts in your head. Don't walk this path, 'cause it all leads to death. And I can't seem to recognize what you are. Rise and fall, but don't follow me. Divide yourself in sympathy. Push all your fears back up your right. And I can't seem to recognize what you are. There's no more truth, there's only lies. It's what you are. No one's here to sympathize with what you are. I can't seem to recognize what you are. Divide and conquer your enemy. Push death, destruction on the way. Push all your hopes back up your vein. And I can't seem to recognize what you are. There's no more truth, there's only lies. It's what you are. No one's here to sympathize with what you are. I can't even recognize what you are. It's what you are. It's what you are. These words are lost and broken. The streets are in the ruin. I said it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking metal. All right.
So we got to enjoy a nice little music break, talk about pity sex and, a few other things. But
And everybody's like, wait, what's this conversation?
no, the last thing that we were harping on is like, I want to talk about real quick of what it's like to get to take somebody to their first concert. I remember taking my niece to the concert I was telling you about earlier, where it was like, it was Leonard Skinner opening for ZZ Top, and it was a great fucking show, And this is like, God, they're so fucking old. But she got to see the concert for the first time.
How
like,
old are they? No, I'm saying.
Old enough that one of them's dead. Like, we gotta have.
Fuck, man, this got dark.
We gotta have like a little bit of respect. There's, and I know that for she's like 9 or 10 years old, and like for her first concert, I asked her like, what would you want to go see? She's like, oh, I want to go see Kesha, or I want to go see like Hannah Montana, and I'm like, well, she's not Hannah Montana.
That's pretty understandable with the age and Disney and all those things.
Yeah, but like, I don't know how much better it gets than like, I couldn't tell you like one of Hannah Montana's songs, maybe one of Miley Cyrus's in particular, but I could name you like from top to bottom every song from ZZ Top and their anthology, just because of like how legendary they are as a band. They had a tribute CD that actually had, because they had like briefly mentioned their retirement, like a lot of stars do, right? Like they say like,
and then they
we're
play
gonna
like
retire.
20,000 shows after that are all retirement shows.
Yeah, they
Slayer's doing that right now.
right? Fucking Vince Neil has been doing that for like the past 10 years. He's like, oh, we're retiring. This is it. And now it's just Vince Neil and Motley Crue. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. You really just don't want to quit doing it. You're just in it for the money, I guess. I don't know.
Hey,
And I can't harp on that. But it was like her first concert. She was like 9 or 10 years old. And she recognized some of the songs from Leonard Skinner. Like if you live in Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, wherever, like you've heard at least a Leonard Skinner song at least at one point in your life. And then, getting to see like the car graphics and everything from ZZ Top afterwards, I was like, so what'd you think? She's like, that was actually really cool. I could really see myself doing this more often. I don't know how many shows she's been to since then. But recently I went to the Jones Assembly to see Snail Mail, which I really like some of the songs that they have. We obviously don't have permission to like play any of the stuff that she has. But as an artist, I can really appreciate her. I think she does a really great set. And I was so mad because she didn't play the one song that I wanted her to play, which is the reason that I bought the tickets. It's called Deep Sea. It's on her Red album that she has. And I took my girlfriend at the time, who I found out like the day before that she'd never been to a concert before. And, she'd never
How old was she?
She was like 23.
Okay. I
I'd
mean,
never
I guess
been to
it's
a
somewhat
show.
understandable. Early 20s maybe, but...
Dude, I meet people who are like in their 30s and 40s and never been to a show. And it's just like, what are you doing with your time?
Yeah, what do you do? And they're like, I'll play video games.
Like, I play video games, I go kayaking, go with my family to ski trips, and they pay for everything.
They like actually do real. They're like, I go hiking and skiing and snowboarding and I go wakeboarding and stuff like that. And you're like, but you don't go to concerts.
Yeah. It's like, we get
Kind of fucking psycho are you? And they're like, they actually are a normal person that lives a normal life and actually does a lot of things that a lot of us don't do anymore.
Dude,
So-
I was with this girl, and she's asking me, so when do we start fighting? And I just looked at her like, what? She's like, yeah, I heard you go to, like, big shows and you can do, like, a mosh pit or something. Can we do a mosh pit? And I'm like, no.
No. No.
And just, like, the look of disappointment in her
no.
eyes is just, like, so sad. And I'm like, this is, like, an indie rock. This is, like, sad lesbian music at best, okay? It's like, that's what... I'm not saying that the girl from
get us
Snail Mail
canceled,
is
sir.
sad.
Why don't you
Shut the
say mean
fuck up.
things? What is this, Lilith Bear? Okay,
Say mean things is my gamer tag, okay?
say mean things.
It's my say mean things is my middle name. No, it's just like I tried to explain to her that it wasn't that kind of show. Like even if I took her to a country show, not everybody's just like out looking to do a mosh pit. The last time that I saw a mosh pit was when I took my mom to see Metallica when they started doing their tour again, and that was back in like 2016. This is before the COVID situation, but that was when they opened the AT&T Amp down in Texas. I think it's in Dallas. By the way, just talking about venues, holy fuck, that was the worst venue that I've ever been to in my life. And to their credit, they just opened it, like they reopened it as the AT&T venue.
Mm-hmm.
But so much of it was just like concrete pillars. There were like certain parts of the auditorium you could stand in and not hear anything. Like all the sound would just get so muffled. Even with the band playing live and the speakers being right there, you could stand in certain parts of the auditorium and not really understand what the fuck was going on.
That's weird.
Yeah. And then it's just like we stayed there till probably like 3 o'clock in the morning, just trying to find, like, the whole time walking around trying to find a sweet spot to just find a place to listen to the music. And I was just so fucking pissed because it was so much money just to go see them. And she'd seen them like 17 times or something live because she was a diehard fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she recently just told me that the best concert that she ever went to is the last one I took her to, which was Green Day up at the BOK Center.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was back in like 2017. And that was a great fucking show. And they always make it a point to, like, you know, bring somebody in from the crowd, and then they let them like try a solo, and they're like, okay, so I want you to practice the solo. Tell you what, we're just going to give you the guitar. And like every show, I think every show they try to give somebody a guitar and like let them leave stage with it, and it's like got their autograph on it already and
that's
stuff
cool.
like that. And that's cool. And that's the kind of support that I want to see in local shows. I'm not saying to every local artist, like, you should just give one of the audience members your guitar. Like, that's a big investment. That's almost like as stupid as like when Cobain was like going and getting stretched and then breaking them on purpose on stage. Like,
I mean, I understand one of the
waste.
bands said that what he does is, and it's something that I used to do to like make extra little cash, is that you can go to pawn shops and you can pick up a shit broken guitar for like $20,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put like $30-40 into it and you can fix it, right? What he was doing was that he would go and find guitars and he'd have it off to the side to make it look like it's the guitar that he play, like one of the guitars that he's gonna play on stage, and then he'd find ones that look like his main guitar, so he'd swap out his main guitar real quick, and then he'd grab the other one and start breaking it on fucking stage. The one that he's breaking is like a $20 guitar. It's not a fucking
right.
You know, it's not a $1,000 guitar. But visually, it looked fucking crazy because you're like, God damn, he just broke that fucking expensive guitar.
This cat's wild.
Yeah, but
He's awesome.
No, it's fucking cheap ass vendors and just adding a neck to it that says, you know, like fucking like a Gibson or some major brand that's expensive, but you can make them look the same, and then you just break them and fucking not care.
That's probably what I like. If I was a given artist or performer myself, I would probably do some shit like either giving away guitars or smashing them on stage or something fun like that. But what I was I want to like give a quick shout out to the Jones Assembly for actually having like a pretty bitchin' setup as far as like standing room for the show, and you get to go up to the second floor to like get a better like overview of the whole crowd, and then there's the other section of it that where they serve like local beers and, you know, food and stuff too. But, you know, it's when was the last time you saw a mosh pit at a show?
Like 2 weeks ago. No. Let me see. I mean, not really mosh pit. I mean, I guess Grand Royale has punk and metal.
Right.
And I mean, so there'll be like little mosh pits. At the 89th Street.
Yeah.
That was that. They always have mosh pits there, a little bit small ones. Saw them at the an actual mosh pit was over at the cover show that I went to at Diamond Ballroom recently. That one, there was a band. Forget the name of that one, but there was the Red Hot Not Chili Peppers, and so they sound pretty good. But like the main singer of that one, he was also in another band that was an Alice in Chains band, and sounded just like them. It was insane, like how well they sounded just like the other band. But yeah, there was a lot of like. There was some moshing and stuff going on during that show because people were like, you know, the kind of bands they're playing, like that kind of music. But they were all cover bands, except for Like Before. Like Before is a local band here in Oklahoma City. I'm sure a lot of people know who they are at this point because they do a really, really good job at marketing themselves. They make funny videos about themselves. They put it on like Reels and YouTube and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And they and TikTok, I guess you'd say, but yeah, they're very about it of like doing cool little things. And they did a couple covers, but they also did their original music, and so that was really cool. You know, I don't know.
Right.
You got birds chirping over there. Like, what do you?
No, my phone's just like not working anymore.
Oh.
That's kind of strange.
Oh, yeah. I guess my EMT worked. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna kill this guy and bury his body in my fucking house.
I fucking.
Oh shit! Was that out loud? Oh shit! Oh shit! There's recordings of this.
You're gonna fucking kill me. I fucking knew it. You hadn't seen me in so long.
Hey, yeah, that was the plan. I mean, what are you gonna come back and get royalties or some shit on the show? Like, we'll fucking kill you. I don't.
Can I do that? Can I get?
No, well, yep, to your episodes, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
There was a band I was actually thinking about last week before I moved back that I was really wondering if we could get on the show, but you know, I also haven't heard from them in like for fucking ever, and I haven't heard of anything that they've done recently. You know the Pretty Black Chains? You don't know the Pretty Black Chains?
Do not.
They're like a really big Oklahoma-based band, or at least I thought they were, but they've only got like an average of 1,000 listeners or something on Spotify.
I mean, that's pretty normal.
Yeah,
out here, like it's. That's why I don't understand. Like I said, we've been doing the Facebook group for 3 years. Well, about 2 years, a little year and a half, 2 years. It's like 400 people in our group,
right?
And there's groups on Facebook that are literally made by apps. Like they're made by a fucking they're literally produced to con people, but they're made by bots, and those groups are like 3,000 people. So I don't know what the hell people do to get marketing out on Facebook other than pay for it to grow these groups, but I'm trying to figure out why it's not growing, and but yet the listener base is growing. That's the weird part.
Part of it is like,
so
not to interrupt you, but just like part of it is like it is paying for it too. And you get those advertisements all the time. Like if you're on Instagram quite a bit, and you're just like the moment you promote something, you get messages on your post saying, by the way, you should tag these people and have them like, you know, sponsor your stuff and have them help you get followers. And then you come to find out that like over 85% of the people that they're trying to get onto your page are just bots.
Yep.
But at the same time, that's also the amount of clout that comes with, you know, like if you look at Kim Kardashian and her amount of followers on Instagram, for one, she's not the one managing her page. She's not the one like posting the pictures and shit.
Right. She's not even probably the person messaging people on that shit.
Because it's too much of a liability with her name to actually jeopardize whatever it is that she could post, right? Like she does like a little TikTok of her like, you know, maybe playing with herself or something. That could like completely throw off her whole, you know, Instagram feed. So they have somebody else managing the page, and then they have people regularly getting bots or just generic followers on there to prove that, oh, look, this person has this many followers. They're obviously somebody worth following.
Right.
But when you try to do something a bit more local based, of course it's not going to have like billions of followers, but it's still something that deserves proper recognition. And really the only thing that I think the demographic, if I'm thinking of it correctly, is like the demographic for Instagram is people between the ages of 15 to 25. And then for Facebook, it's for people ages between 35 and 55. Like for what I do in roofing and construction, a lot of our customers have to be homeowners. So a lot of our clientele and basis is based on people who are between the ages of 35 and 55. Why? Because the majority of people between like 35 and up are most likely to be homeowners. So they own the house. I think we were just getting attacked by a cicada there for a second. We didn't see it.
That's what I was saying. I was like, what's that background noise? Like, what the fuck is that?
It's like every time somebody hits record, it's like God is testing you to see exactly how they can fucking...
It's that damn FBI fucking surveillance band fucking tapping my fucking mixer. Exactly. Shit's not even hooked up to the internet, but it is hooked to that computer, so maybe it is hooked up to the internet.
It's all connected.
It's all connected to the internet. Every bit of it.
Well,
these motherfuckers.
It's so through the demographic of like what you look for on followers is just that you like hire people. And we were talking about the other day with Gary Vee about how like he's only had VaynerMedia for however long, and like he started VaynerMedia after he got famous, after he did like the wine library and did the online shows for years before even starting VaynerMedia, and then people recognized him from all that, and like of course he's gonna have an easy time trying to get people on board with that. But I think keeping it as like one stationary page or one stationary account and then doing everything that you can to get promo through that makes it a bigger name. Because the first thing that they try to teach you in marketing, it's either brand or recognition. No, sorry. It's either name or brand.
Yep.
Are you going off the name of somebody, or are you going off the brand of what it is that you're trying to sell?
Yeah.
We're not trying to sell anything in particular. We're just trying to promote local music.
And I mean, that's kind of what I do with the local Earshot podcast. Like, the way I look at it is, it isn't about me. It's not about Wilson. It wasn't about Biggs. It's not about us.
It's a little bit.
Never
about
has.
me.
I mean,
it's a little bit about Biggs. It's
a little bit about Biggs.
A little bit about Biggs.
What's
No.
about Biggs?
No, I'm kidding.
I was like, what about Biggs? No, I'm just saying, like, it's not about us at all, really. It's always been about the artist in Oklahoma, and even beyond, you know, like, it's just always been about local music and promoting local music. Like, I mean, that's the goal, and I mean, it's always been like that. Like, we've never really always like we all three had our moments where we headbutt and stuff like that, but I mean, it's
Right.
always been more like that's the common ground. That is always been about the music scene here and growing it. But I don't care if you know, like, when he goes on, he does his thing and stuff, and if it means that he's gonna grow whatever he does, I don't care, as long as it's promoting and helping the music industry here. I can care less what somebody does, you know, when it comes to
Right.
that. But it's you know, and I understand that whole, like, people pushing their own thing and stuff. That I mean, we all do it. Morebands Media.
Yeah.
I push that, you know, like, but I mean, but yeah, it's always been like the music part has been the most important thing about it all. So
It is, and like, really, the show is for you guys. Like, in the beginning, when, you know, John and I and Biggs got together, it was really for the promotion of local music, and that's really what it's about, is helping people get the kind of recognition that they deserve. I mean, I don't really think a lot of people can accredit to where a lot of music came from here. Like, did you know that Leon Russell was best friends with Gary Busey when they went to high school here in Oklahoma? They grew up together. They were like best friends in high school. And Leon Russell went on to become Leon Russell, and, you know, Gary Busey went on to be whatever he is now.
Gary Busey.
Yeah. Dude, I got a fucking crazy story about that.
You related to Gary Busey?
No. My stepdad was there whenever he had his motorcycle accident. Did you hear about his motorcycle accident? Okay. So Gary Busey was in Oklahoma to do a shoot. He was either in Oklahoma or some other state, but they were there on a shoot, and my stepdad was doing security for the whole setup, right? And Gary Busey went and said, like, "Hey man, do you guys want to do some coke?" And my stepdad was like, head of security. He's like, maybe, but let's focus on the shoot right now. Like, we can party afterwards. He's like, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Maybe we could, like, think about it another time. And so Gary Busey actually helped him get, like, 2 8-balls of coke. And he did a whole one by himself in one sitting. And he said, "Hey guys, watch this." And he took a motorcycle from the movie set and drove it as fast as he could and rammed it into a tree face first. And that's how he lost the majority of his teeth and fucked up his face. And then he was so coked out from it, he got up
Fucking winner.
He got up and walked over to my stepdad. He's like, "So what'd you think?"
Like,
They're like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I think. Why do you ask?"
what do you ask? The fucking Gary Busey. Of course,
It's all
I'm okay.
smashed up. And, like, I can't accredit to how many
What happened to
witnesses
your
were there.
face?
I don't know, like, how much of the... Because it's just a story, right? But it doesn't fucking surprise me with somebody like Gary Busey.
No, I mean, if you would have told me, like, any certain names, like, you know, you'd be like, yeah, the story about fucking God damn it, what's his name? Fucking Charlie Sheen. Yeah, like, if you say Charlie Sheen, like, if I hear the name Charlie Sheen, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a totally believable story. I mean, if you even said, like, fucking fucking what's the name, Doogie Howser, fucking
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, if you told me that name, I wouldn't be surprised. If you told me that fucking what's the name from God, why am I forgetting all these names, all these famous motherfuckers? We were talking about that earlier. I can't do music trivia because I can't remember fucking album and song names sometimes.
The first names of Simon and Garfunkel. Come on, John.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, fucking Santana. But yeah, like Wayne Brady.
Yeah.
Like Wayne Brady is another one. Like whenever I saw that Chappelle skit where Wayne Brady was like going all crazy and shit, the first thing that came to mind was that wouldn't be surprising to me.
No.
Because he's just such a like well collected, calm person on set. But like, guarantee that motherfucker's wild and crazy as shit. You know,
Yeah,
like
in the car, he's like, "Oh my god, Wayne Brady's about to have to choke a bitch."
You're gonna have to choke a bitch, you know, like and you know, and he did, and I was happy he did. I was happy that Wayne Brady had to choke a bitch. Like it was nice to watch that.
That reminds me, John. This is an intervention, by the way. We have to talk about your dark sense of humor. It's just too much. Like,
oh shit, man! My dark sense of humor is like a lot cleaner than a lot of people's dark sense of humor. My shit's just all about like world domination shit. I mean,
feeling secretly called out here for some reason. But at the same time, I don't think people really understand our day. Like, even though I haven't been on the show for a minute, we still take time to like share videos with each other daily for some reason. And it's always like, and it's not like cutesy stuff like, "Oh, hey man, I was just thinking about you," or like taking pictures of like us at the bar. It's like, you know, sending completely ridiculous videos of stuff that no other people need to see.
oh yeah, no, like you want to talk about cancel culture. If you were to if somebody was to hack my Facebook and just open up my messenger and look at all the things that I get sent on a daily basis from my friends,
Right.
or you know, sent to my friends,
Yeah.
I'd be canceled. I'm being honest. I'd be totally canceled. They'd be like, "Man, fuck that guy. He's a fucking jerk." But you know what? I don't give a shit because that shit's funny and I think it's hilarious. And you know, and that's the problem with dark sense of humor is that most comedy people, they get it. They understand the inner workings of society of like all the things that a lot of people don't think are funny. They think are hilarious. And I mean, there's some dark shit out there that fucking they think is funny. So,
I'm starting to wonder, like, I think that's where people end up crossing the line. It's like, it's one thing if you say something fucked up and nobody knows who you are. It's another thing if you say something that's fucked up and you're like one of the writers of South Park or something. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. So we
yeah,
expect it from you.
You could say whatever you want if you're Trey Parker or fucking Matt Stone or fucking what's the name that does like Family Guy? Like you could say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Like
It's
because
just-
people just think you're funny.
Right.
But if somebody tells you that you can't say it, you say, "What are you, anti-Semitic?" And they're like, "What?" It's because they're Jewish. They get away with it because of that joke. And it's funny because like South Park even made an episode about how the Jews run Hollywood, and yet like Kanye got in trouble for saying that shit. But here's the funny part. Fucking South Park said it too, man, right afterwards. They made fun of that shit. It was fucking hilarious when they made fun of it. Like, them making fun of him was hilarious, you know? Like, him saying it, I don't know about all that. But, like, you know, like, that's one of those things where, like, because I was watching an interview and he went on Tim Pool, and it just seemed like that it's just a way of, like, it's like he's doing it for just shock factor. And stuff, which I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do, you just want to make racist jokes and make everybody think you're a racist for fucking, I don't know, attention. I don't know why the fuck you would do that because like I think that shit's total bullshit. And I don't know. I'm big on characters, so like if people, you know, like try to like bring in any type of racial shit around me, I'm just like, cool. Like, do they actually like have real character as a human being? Like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like it's like if they're a good human being, then cool. But I mean, I don't see why people are being hated for how they live their lives or how they fucking, you know, like what race they are. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's a stupid reason to hate somebody. I'll hate you for your shitty music like taste. I mean, I'll do that. Right. If you're a person that absolutely like every time that you put on music, everybody in the room's like, God, what the fuck is this horrible shit? You probably have horrible music taste, and you should be shunned to fucking hell or something. I don't know. You
Right.
know, but but
No.
but you should be shunned for being a Mexican or being like whatever. But
No, and it's
maybe I
like,
shouldn't be getting in this conversation right now with this show because I'm trying to stay on the air. But
no, but this is exactly the thing that I was talking about with my sister just a couple months ago. Actually, my sister's finally developed. I make it sound bad, like saying like, "Oh, my sister's finally developed a sense of humor." And it's not like that. For like the first 10 to 15 years of our life, she was very self-conscious. She always thought that people were making fun of her, right? Like nobody could laugh in the room without her feeling self-conscious about it. And she recently confessed to me that that was one of the things that she admired about me, is that I could just make jokes about things and then people laugh and it not really bother me as much, right? And I said, yeah, but that's where like you don't quite understand. Like I'm not saying these things like I tried to explain to her a joke. She's like, "You can't say that, Wilson." I'm like, "No, you can't. I can. People expect it from me. People expect me to like say something off-putting, or
yeah,
just like,
I mean, if people expect you to say something ballsy, like then they ain't gonna flinch when they hear you say it.
yeah." And
Like,
she
they're
was
just like, okay, yeah. Like,
she was asking me about it because it was like something that has taken like a lot of her character, a lot of self-anxiety, social anxiety to get to like tell jokes out in public in front of people. And I was trying to tell her like, it's not like it happened overnight. Like I take a leap of faith every time. It's like if you're trying to do magic tricks but you haven't studied magic. Like you can go out there and try to do magic tricks in front of people and you just like practice it or whatever without any kind of like actual schooling or anything in particular. And it's really hard for something like that when it comes to like, you can go to school and learn how to play music. You can't go to every other school and learn how to be like a comic or something. And I'm not saying that I'm a comic, but you have to be able to take that leap of faith whenever you say something in front of people in public, knowing that they're either going to like bash you for it, not like it, or that they're going to laugh.
mm-hmm.
I have been to a lot of comedy shows in Oklahoma and other comedy shows in like Texas and Arkansas, wherever I can. And I just sit there the whole time and I don't laugh because I don't think that it's genuinely that funny. And I was trying to explain to her, like, I go out of my way to like make these puns or jokes in front of people knowing that they'll laugh because that makes me feel better. I don't know if that's like an ego thing or if that's an egotistical kind of feeling of like, oh, you can make other people laugh. But I do it because that's the enjoyment that I get out of it, is like saying something like farting in a funeral, just something that's going to completely change the mood and get everybody to kind of giggle a little bit. Something that gets me a little bit high. And I don't envy anybody that doesn't try to do the same thing because it's a bit harder. But I was trying to tell her, like, I don't make these jokes for other people to laugh. I do it for me because I get like something out of other people laughing.
Yeah.
To an extent. And it just happens to be that it's like the most off-putting thing. Like a homeowner was telling me the other day that she had like a raccoon problem. So if we did the roof, she wanted to take care of the raccoon problem. I'm like, well, you could just, maybe tell them you love them on a first date or something. That'll drive that usually works for me. It gets rid of the problem.
I mean, they are trash, so.
Exactly. See, it's just part of it. And I think that when it comes to cancel culture, which is the stupidest kind of culture I can think of.
The stupidest kind of culture is the type that tries to cancel culture.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of. And not to say that there aren't some people that genuinely have it coming, like some complete total creeps like the Weinstein guys or whoever. People that have done like legitimately terrible things.
Evil, terrible things, and usually those people never get canceled by anybody. They actually get propped up and defended, which pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you're going to cancel somebody, go cancel those fucks. Like,
Right, exactly. And not to say that there isn't like some work going into that. Like when I first heard about Bill Cosby and some woman came up and said something against him, I'm like, there's no way. This is Bill Cosby. There's no way that like
he's America's dad.
Yeah. It's like he's everything that I wanted to be growing up, wearing the goofy sweaters, having the beautiful wife, the cool kids, nice job, whole house. And then like when 49 other women came up and said something against him, I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. So I guess it's pretty true.
Yeah, and I mean like the thing that happened recently with fucking House of Cards guy.
Oh, Kevin Spacey?
Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he got acquitted. And it's like, I'm sorry, but he's been on a fucking plane to a very shitty fucking place. Yep. And that tells me that story is probably fucking true.
Yep.
And he's probably getting off because he probably paid off some people and they are walking away from it. But at the same time, it's like I'm pretty sure that there's probably a couple of those cases out of the 9 that probably just some assholes trying to get some money. It's the same argument that I was using with somebody about Michael Jackson. That, like, you know, I can't bring up Michael Jackson with one of my friends, which, I mean, he listens to the show sometimes, so I'll probably hear what I have to say right here. But I can't mention Michael Jackson because he automatically goes on a 3-hour fucking rant about how Michael Jackson's, like, apparently a fucking child molesting pedophile type. We don't know that. And we don't know what things were true. We don't know what things are lies. You know, the guy is dead, so we don't know. We'll never know. But like but during that time there was a lot of evidence that they were trying to destroy him careerly wise. And then on top of that, like a lot of the people that did come forward, maybe there is cases that are true, but there was a bunch of cases that came out that there were just people trying to get money, and they were saying that, and he would just pay, and then, like, you know, it came off. It looked bad either way because they were just paying him off. And so, like, visually to everybody that was watching it, they're like, well, obviously he did it because he just paid him off. No, in that situation, sometimes the only way out of that legal dilemma is to pay them off, because they're going to keep lying, and you can't beat them. It's the same way with the Amanda Heard and Johnny Depp thing. She was just as abusive, if not more, than what he was, according to all the evidence. But yet all these people were like, oh, well, he was the bad one. No, Amanda Heard was like a bad person, and the things that she did to him too was probably worse than what he ever fucking did to her. But I'm not going to defend it because I don't know. I'm not part of it. I don't know what happened in their house. I don't know what the fuck they did to each other.
Fucking live with them.
I don't live with them. I don't know, man. I know if somebody's never shit on my fucking pillow or my bed, you know, I mean, it's not something I want to wake up to, you know. I mean, I wake up with cats hitting me in the face, but that's about it, you know. That's every day.
So like
little bastards.
So like, oh, I thought you're talking about the actual cats. I thought that was like a sexual thing.
No. That would be better, right? Like cats hitting in your face.
Well, and that's just part of it too. Is like, even if you were living with them, then people would be acting differently. People behave differently when other people are around, even in the same house too. Mm-hmm. What a lot of people, I think, forget is that song "Scar Tissue" from Red Hot Chili Peppers was written about a girl who I guess was a groupie, who happened to be like 13, 14 years old, and she just didn't tell them when she came on the tour. And then later she told him, and he wrote a song about it, and I think she stayed on tour even for a little bit longer. And that kind of gets like swept under the rug. Yeah. Because like everybody loves the fucking song. And even though it's like he admitted that he got with her or something, you know, people don't care about it as much because they can just fucking pay it off. And it's not... It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying that any of these actions that these people commit are fine. But it's just like, with enough money, enough time, and enough power, you can just kind of sweep it under the rug. And that's a problem. That's where I see it as a problem, because like you shouldn't be able to do that. You should be held to the same standards as all the rest of us. Right. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, you know, you just change the fucking standards so that we all have the great little evil standards. That no, the things that they were doing are evil and they're bad. And so like I want them to go to jail the same way that, I don't know, the creepy old man down the street that does shit like that goes to fucking jail. I want them to be on a list just like the creepy old fucking man that's down the street doing that shit, you know? Right. Like I want them to take the same brunt as everyone else. And that's the same way in all of Hollywood, all of politics, all that shit. We, like, as a country, like we have like a foundation of rules, and if you don't want to follow that shit, then, you know, then vote for the right people to change it. But here's the thing. I don't want it to be changed in a way to allow that evil, you know? Right. Like, I want it to be in a way where, I don't know, you persecute the evil, and I'm talking all levels. That means if they find out that fucking, you know, politicians are doing shit, take the motherfuckers out. Yeah. Take them out of office. They need to go. They need to get out of here, because, like, we don't need them. We don't need them. And if they're doing that shit in Hollywood, if they're doing that shit in fucking the music industry, we don't fucking need them. We had, like, you know, like, you can still listen to their music. It's like whenever people talk about
fucking drip, drip, drip boy over there, fucking, like, fucking peeing on girls. It's like, it's, I guess if that's your thing,
Dude, but that's exactly what we're talking about. Is like, I went to go have dinner with somebody here recently. We sat in the bar. He came to the bar. We were just eating, and they were playing R. Kelly over the radio there, and it's like a pretty happening place. It's the I don't want to say any names because I don't want to get the establishment in trouble. Yeah. But we're just looking at each other and we're like, are they allowed to play this? Like, and this is like right after the allegations with R. Kelly had happened. So I guess this wasn't recently. This is a little over a year ago.
It was a few years back when he got in trouble for all that.
But time's not fucking real.
Yeah, time's not real. You're way off on time right now.
No, but I was at this establishment and we heard R. Kelly come on the radio, or the music that they had playing in the background. We were just looking at each other like, are they really allowed to play this shit? Like after everything just happened?
Yeah.
It's like, and people don't care.
People don't care. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's the one thing with music. It's like people don't care. They like the song. They like the song. But the fact that somebody would be like so adamant about arguing about one particular artist, it's like Jesus Christ, man. Like, just let it go. Like, it's not even involve you. Like, right. But at the same time, like let the law do its job. And if they find him guilty of things, then let him do that. But it's like, and people try to argue with me on that, like when it comes to certain people, like fucking, Trump over the other ones, stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I give two fucks about Trump too. I like, if they find that he did illegal shit, throw his ass on a fucking brig too. I don't give a shit. Like that's the thing, is that I'm one of those people, like, I could care less if they did something bad like that. Then they'll face the consequences of their actions at some point. And
yeah, and people talk about like consequences of actions. Like, not that I'm like a supporter of him or anything in particular. I think all of them can eat shit. But like Trump was one of the first presidents to like not start a war with another country. Mm-hmm. Like, historically speaking. So I guess that's like a cool bonus. But then come to find out that his name was mentioned like 3 or 4 times on Epstein's list, like right before all this shit went down.
Yep.
On the pages of like him coming there and staying for a certain period of time and then flying back to the U.S.
Yeah.
Like, so while he was president, he was going over to the Epstein Island doing whatever the fuck they do over there for fun.
Yeah, and maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't. That's the thing. And that's the same defense I give to Kevin Spacey or any of those other people that people say that have been on that list. Elon Musk, like we don't know. We don't know what these people were doing. Some of them might have been co-opted when they went there. Some might have not been.
Yeah, maybe. It's just, I don't know. It's a crazy thing to think about. I love how we have these conversations. Like, I don't know if any of you at home are listening to this. Like, this is one of these motherfuckers that I can't just like start talking about conspiracy theories with.
Like we're at, which I'm about to like close it out just because of this, but we're at like an hour and 29 minutes and 32 seconds right now of talking and bullshitting, because we haven't talked in a long time like this. And so like,
right.
But yeah, I'm very into conspiracy theories. I probably start a whole podcast on conspiracy theories.
Dude,
my problem is that I would actually show probably the actual like information to them.
I know, and it fucking terrifies me.
And because I've seen you some stuff where you're just like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm just
I know, and it's shit that's like undeniable. Like, holy shit, it just comes to my mind as like a passing thought. And he's like, no, there's evidence, man, to show. Like,
there's evidence to show this shit. Like, here's the evidence, and then you show real sources, and people are like, what the fuck, dude? And you're like, yeah. And then you have some story like recently, like, oh, aliens are real. And all the conspiracy theorists, it's funny because reading those memes that say, like, all the conspiracy theorists are like, oh, oh, yeah, they ain't real. And then, like, everybody's like, but you guys were saying they're real for, like, 30 fucking years. Yeah, now the government's telling you that they're real.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you shouldn't trust them, because they're probably lying to you, and they probably got a plan for doing something else. There's a particular thing you can look up with the current little craziness going on right now. It's Operation Bluebeam. It's a simple operation. It's about taking drones and putting them in the air and just making a scene where it looks like we're being invaded. And it's a fun conspiracy theory idea. It also makes the skies like it's like they're like the ones in China that have the really cool displays and stuff that they're doing now. They're doing firework displays with fucking drones now. So like what the idea is that they show like this thing, that an invasion, in our skies, and everybody just gives in to them. The government conspiracy people, you know, the evil government people. They give in to them, and then we all just kind of like get taken out by them because that's the plan, you know. But whenever I look at that, I kind of like laugh to myself. I'm like, cool. So basically, you're gonna see a bunch of like, it won't work well in most states in the United States because a bunch of people just take their guns out in a field and shoot at whatever it is, and whenever the screen of whatever it is starts malfunctioning because it's technology, and all the drones start falling out of the damn sky because they keep shooting at them and hitting them, then everybody will be like, well, obviously that was fake. Oh, hey, they got busted in their little conspiracy idea. Like, they're gonna have to do better than that. Like that you know, that's like, but you know, but I'm hopeful that aliens are real. That seems kind of fun, you know.
I mean, if they are, they obviously don't want a whole lot to do with us. They probably pass by here like the same way that we pass by the south side of OKC. Like,
there's that trailer park in the fucking universe.
And again, not dissing Oklahoma. It's just like certain parts of it. It's like in every state of the United States.
I could make these jokes. I lived in trailer parks in Oklahoma. I grew up in trailer parks in Oklahoma. So I mean, yeah, this is like fucking. But yeah, it's like, what are we? The armpit of the universe? Is that what's going on?
Kind of. I mean, like, what things? What do we really have to offer the universe? Like cheesecake, probably.
Like from the Cheesecake Factory, or just regular run-of-the-mill cheesecake from the store?
I'm just talking about like as far as things that we can contribute to the universe, like cheesecake, probably from Cheesecake Factory, just because of all the flavors, and like maybe music, I guess, as a whole, and some entertaining movies, sure, maybe some shows.
Yeah. What was the bright idea of like of sending a gold record? I get the gold part, you know, making a record and all that stuff. It can be played on anything out into the universe. I think, and there's in your head thinking, yeah, they figured out how to make a record player.
Honestly, bro, like, it's not. I think Jack White actually did that. He started a program where he sent like a record and a record player out into outer space, so that way whoever discovers it can, like, I guess, attempt to, like, even if he sent instructions with it, on, like, how to use. I don't know if they're gonna figure it out.
And that's what they kind of did with that one gold record, is that there's instructions how to play it. But if you don't have the right material to like move it or whatever, like I'm wondering like if it would actually work, you know?
Right.
And some like, I don't know. I do find it fascinating that whenever you take like the simulational theory stuff, whenever you take anything and put it in code form, it does produce the same digital code of creating it as it does visually in front of you. So they were decrypting like a lot of different nature type things, and it was literally creating the same code lines as what they would create in like a video game or whatever. So it shows that simulation theory could be real, because like how does that perfect? But at the same time, like, you know, bees make honeycombs that are perfect and all this really cool shit. So it
is cool.
It's like, that's what I was saying. That's why I enjoy those type of theories. I like the idea of like a very sci-fi human being. I mean, I used to be really big into horror when I was a teenager, but I really like the sci-fi shit. Like,
I want to just say for the record, I heard John admit that he was a really big whore on the podcast. That's what I heard.
I was really big into horror movies. Wait, horror movies?
Yes.
Horror.
No,
horror?
I still heard horror.
Oh, you're just horror? Just horror? Yeah. Horror movies?
He's just a whore.
I mean, hey, hey, they're fun, you know? I hear some of them are a blast.
When you can afford them.
Jesus.
Some of them aren't. No, I know. I've got issues. Look, it's part of the simulation. What I have a hard time carrying on conversations about simulation theory, just because it's like, it's not really theoretical. Like, if you look at Pong, Musk said it. Like, if you look at Pong, the first video game they ever invented, versus what video games are now, like, dude, I watched the preview for Cyberpunk, whatever it's called. Holy shit.
It's, like, realistic now.
It's realistic. I watched the trailer. I thought it was a fucking movie. I didn't realize it was a fucking video game. And then, the way that it just played out, I saw, like, a glimpse of Keanu Reeves. That was my first telltale that it was, like, probably a movie or something, or that it was at least somewhat real. No. Like, the whole simulation thing is just another show that we could get into entirely and talk about like how in depth it is. But like, it honestly doesn't fucking surprise me the way that we can capture information and play it on these little bitty fucking screens that we call our phones, and just go through the motions of like what we think is real. I was watching a TikTok the other night. I didn't even take anything. Somebody purposely made it to where it started out like it was real, and then like it started to transition where it looked like you were on mushrooms or some kind of psychedelic.
Yeah.
And those always freak me the fuck out because it's like, man, I could have swore I didn't take anything today. I didn't take anything before I went to sleep. And then you're just tripping for some fucking reason.
I had to stop watching the clone Tyrone the other night because I was on an edible, and because I take edibles at night to go to sleep, and I was watching it, and like I got halfway through the movie, and it got so fucking trippy.
Yep.
That like I was like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? And then I was like, freaking me out.
Much.
It's too fucking real. And then I turned that shit off. But like, you know, the whole movie is about cloning and stuff. But I'm not going to go into detail what it's about because you should watch that movie because it's fucking good. But I will tell you that it seems like that Jamie Foxx was going through the motions of whatever the fuck he got sick with while they were making that movie, because he was doing some weird trip shit. He was like his mouth would move a certain way. He was saying random words. He was having twitches. Like it was really weird. I don't know if it was related to the movie script. I don't know what was going on, but like there was just random stuff like that in the movie where I'm like, this is not him. Like it's weird.
It's hard to say. Like out of a lot of actors who do like a lot of varied things like music, because Jamie Foxx has like a big background in doing all sorts of things. I don't think he's a method actor, but he definitely like gets into it for sure.
Oh yeah. He's
and
definitely
that's one
a
of
role
the things
actor.
that I can respect about him. I really like his backstory, like the way that he still lives with his dad. He's got like a big ass house, and he turned his basement into like a recording studio. Like as far as life goals go, it seems like he's figured out a lot, and he's done a really good job of it. But as far as like, I don't know, there's a lot of movies that I could recommend. We're probably gonna have to make that for a different segment.
Yeah,
a different show.
because we're probably gonna get out of here. We're almost at an hour and 40 minutes. Our average show is usually an hour.
Yeah.
So.
We're late for the strip club already. I already promised this guy I'd buy him a dance or something. So I don't go to strip clubs in Oklahoma. I tend to run into too many people that I know, friends and family. My friends and family, motherfucker.
Oh, your friends and family. I mean, but your mama, she does a pretty good poke dance.
Shut the fuck up about my mom.
What's my mama? You don't say about my mama.
You don't say nothing about my mom.
All right, you have any shout outs or anything you want to do?
I do want to do a quick shout out to PerseuS. They actually did a really great job at the Blue Note the other night. The sound system that they got set up over there is actually pretty good. Blue Note always does a really great show. Even from like 8 years ago, going there for live shows is always a joy. Some of the other bands that we saw there the other night, were they again? Had like there was PerseuS playing there. There was another band that was playing.
Nevermind The Embers.
Nevermind The Embers actually had a really great show. I really like their merch. You know, it seems like they got a lot of neat ideas. I like their approach to metal. I do want to do a quick shout out and apology to Snail Mail. I wasn't trying to throw her under the bus or nothing in particular. It's just like I wanted to hear that one song, and that's what frustrates me with artists in particular. Is like when you go there specifically to hear something, and then they don't play it for whatever reason. You know, that's my only gripe when it comes to like the music industry or with artists in particular. But you know, you can't really hold anybody to anything in particular. It's just you go there to support them and enjoy the show. She said about a third of the way through the set that this was like her either first time or second time coming through Oklahoma, or that she came through Oklahoma before and she didn't remember, and that she actually really loved it because there were so many people that showed up. I thought that this was going to be like one of those, you know, like indie bands that maybe not many people listen to. Then I recently found out like a week before the show that she had a hit on the radio called Valentine, My Valentine. And it was really cool to get to see her and see all the people supporting him. And I really appreciate the amount of effort that the Jones Assembly put into having the show. And that's something that I can appreciate. And part of the reason why this show is such a great idea is because a lot of local venues are really trying to make it to where we can support local music as a whole. And I really appreciate getting to see that. Because it's just great for everybody. There's no downside to having a better local music scene.
No, I mean it's all upside because like every weekend there will always be like an abundance of shows. There will be abundance of people to actually come to your shows, you know. And as long as they know, and I mean Facebook algorithms suck ass, but we're trying to figure it out. And, if that means that creating like just a simple WordPress fucking events page just so it can aggregate all the events that are happening out there, maybe that's what needs to happen, because it's like we need something that we can just look at and know what's happening, because like it's almost impossible to figure out what's happening every night in this city, because I feel like that's everywhere, that everybody's having that problem. Because everybody says they complain about the algorithms not working right and Facebook not working right, because it will tell you things like, shit, like 3 days later, 4 days later, you'll see a post and it'll be related to a show that happened 3 to 4 days ago, and you're like, why are you showing this to me now? And then my favorite is that now they let you load it to your Google Calendar. I opened up my calendar the other day and I realized that I didn't get notified for any of those events for last month that I had on that calendar. So my calendar's not even notifying me correctly of like whenever things are happening that day.
Damn.
So it's like
the same thing happened to me. I was going to go see the Matchbox 20 concert that they were having at the zoo. I didn't get the notification until like 30 minutes before they went on stage. Mm-hmm. It's like, what the fuck? Why? Like, and it was I was working over in Arkansas. I was too busy anyway to get to go see the show. Yeah. But like, had I known a day or two ahead of time,
you might have gotten the car and drove out.
Yeah, I would have gone to see because there are like the zoo likes to play at least 1 or 2 local shows before they go out with the bigger stuff, or at least they have, like in the past years that I've gone. Some local artists, like 1 or 2 come out as openers, and then they have, I forget who was opening for Matchbox 20, but even then, it's like an awesome opportunity for some people. And I would have liked to. I got to admit, like, I'm a bigger fan of outdoor venues just because it's a lot easier to breathe. Mm-hmm. Like, and you get to smoke whatever you want to too, whenever it's outside. Yeah. And not as many people are bothered by it. I'm kind of bothered when people smoke like the skunkiest weed and it smells like somebody like snuck a skunk into the show. It's like, fuck you. But just
what do you call this weed? I call it Pepe Le Pew.
What do you call this weed? Is like, oh, it's called Deep Nightmare. Jesus. No, I'm not smoking that. Smoke something like that before going to a Tool concert and be like, no. Right. Not doing that.
Oh, my God. Marijuana names. Fucking ridiculous.
Deep Nightmare.
They're like, what do you call this one? And my buddy was like, train wreck. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking smoke that.
I'm about to go.
I'm good. I don't want to feel like I'm in a train wreck.
I'm about to go for a drive. I don't want to smoke something like that.
Right. I'm coming up to a damn train line. I'm fucking scared shitless now because you got me high in train wreck.
Right. It's ridiculous. But this, I do like outdoor venues like the zoo, a couple others. I like the show that they do for the Bluegrass Festival every year in Guthrie. It's nice just to be outside. Obviously, that like takes away from opportunities. Like if it's going to rain that weekend or something, that can kind of put a damper on things. But I don't know. I like the space. I don't like to feel so confined. Some of the venues that I've been to at bars, it's just filled with so much cigarette smoke because a lot of people still smoke cigarettes here locally at bars. They don't really do that in places like California and Detroit anymore. Yeah. But I don't know. It's cool to see. As far as big shout-outs, yes, to PerseuS. Thank you to Blue Note for hosting the shows. Everybody try to go to karaoke there on Tuesdays if you can make the time. It's honestly pretty fun. They got a nice setup from like 7 to close. And my apologies again to Snail Mail. I wasn't trying to like say anything mean. I'm sorry. Like I said, like sad lesbian music genre, and that's not what I meant at all. It's just I don't know. I love their stuff.
I'm gonna tell every single one of my lesbian friends this about you and fair. The mean things you just called them.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then they're probably gonna tell me about all the great music that they play at Lilith Fair.
And I guarantee you half their shit.
Because I have that album. I have a Lil Fair album, and it has great music on it.
I just made a playlist on.
No, I'm sorry.
Listen, man, I just made a playlist on Spotify called "Sad Lesbian Shit." Shit spelled like SHID, and I don't know. I did that to show somebody what I was listening to. It was actually to Andrea. I sent her the playlist. She's like, "Oh damn, I'm so sorry you're having to listen to all this."
The fact that she's like, "I'm sorry that you are that you're having to listen to all this," and you're thinking, "Yeah, but I made it by choice." And she's like, "Exactly. I'm sorry that you have to be listening to this."
It's not my fault that I like Girl in Red.
My God.
Or that I like fucking Mazzy Star. It's not.
Man. Man, I wish my grass was emo so it cut itself. Okay.
But thank you for having me back on the show.
Oh yeah, man, anytime. And yeah, shout out to all the venues and stuff that that went to the Diamond Ballroom, had that show, went out to Grand Royale, went out to a little thing there, and then ended up over at the Blue Note. That was over the last few weeks that I've been busy and stuff, trying to get all the school stuff set up and everything, because that's by mid-August or whatever. But I should be able to put a little bit more money into the show to get the cameras that I want. There's some Zoom cameras that will have mic lays that can go right into the mixer and then right out to the camera. So then I can actually start doing some video and do some real video stuff and produce some shows. And there's a few studios out there I've been talking to and stuff that they're willing to help. So yeah. So I mean, yeah. If you want to get involved with the show, I work on 3 tenets. It's time, talent, and treasure. It's the value for value system. The first T is time. So if you listen to a show and you like the show, just keep on listening. Tell people there. One of the simplest things I read the other day that is a true statement when you actually look at it. If you want to grow anything online, the number one thing that you can do as a friend, and I mean if your friend is doing a thing, you go over to their page, and you can go over to our page and do this, to the local Earshot. But you go over to the page, and there's a little thing in the top, and it says invite. Tap that, and it will let you select your friends to invite. Select all your friends, and hit enter. That is the easiest way. It's free. It costs you nothing to do, and it helps your friends grow. So, a lot of band people, we do it through groups. There's a group called Band Together. It's a group across the whole United States where bands and get on there, and they say, hey, drop your link in the comments. Everybody just goes and re-likes each other. So then all the bands are doing it for each other. But for regular people to do it, it's easy to do that. It's easy to just create that nice little invite. Facebook takes forever to send those invites out, but at least it's something. If everybody's doing it, then it means that everybody's helping each other grow. The second T is talent. Kind of like what Wilson was talking about, before we started this episode, that he said, hey, I want to actually help you get some more equipment and stuff like that for the show, and he said, how does that work? And I said, well, I mean, it was he has skills. He's a video guy. Usually, if I have film questions, I go to him, and I was like, but you have skills, you have talent, and I was like, and the treasure part is money. So it's honestly, either money or gear is the same thing. If you have old gear lying around and that probably an old video camera that's actually nicer than a lot of the shit that I probably have, then I'll gladly take that off your hands and mark it down as a donation and put it on the show, and actually let everybody know who gave that to me, who it's sponsored by, who that product's sponsored by, where it came from, But yeah, that leads to the third T, the other T of talent, which is the artist. So if you want to be on the show, then you can reach out to me at john@thelocaleearshot.com, or you can go on our Instagram page and message me on there, or Facebook, and just message through the Facebook page. I'll answer you. I mean, I'm if you actually look at our numbers, I react to almost every single message that comes in, good or bad. I mean, if I block you, it's probably because you're trying to market some garbage to me. But if you're an actual legitimate person that's trying to be on the show or promote music or promote what you're doing, then I'll listen, and then that leads to the third T, which is treasure. And if you want to donate to the show, you can go over to the donation page and stuff. I take crypto, Cash App, Venmo, just any type of things that are money. And I mean, just yeah, anything, any ways to donate, get involved, go to the Facebook groups, join them, go on there and just market the shows, share with your friends, all the shows that are coming out. Come out to events. If I run into you at an event, I'd be like, hey, how you doing? And it's I do it all the time, but yeah, I mean, just getting out there and actually being a part of the community and just really being involved with all these shows is probably one of the best things you can do to promote the local music scene. I mean, these people need us, and if they don't have us, then pretty much they don't ever grow their careers, and then after a while, they end up giving up or they end up moving away, and that's what I've noticed over the years that I was here when I was younger and all the way up till now, that you hear about these big artists, famous artists out of Oklahoma. I mean, there's a lot of them. A lot of them are country singers, but the problem is, even Garth Brooks and Reba McEntire and stuff, they got sick of it. They got sick and tired of just playing bars and like these smaller venues and stuff in Oklahoma. And then they just said, you know what, I'll just go to Nashville. And then everybody hits up on them. You know, if you ever watch, what is it? Like American Idol, there's always at least one person on American Idol that's Oklahoman. And every time, and it's like, well, you know, where does this talent come from? And I really think that Oklahoma has a special place for music, and so I mean, I think that there's a lot of talent here, and there's a lot of people that are not getting what they deserve, and so I mean, and the only way for them to get that is if we help out and grow the scene. So thank you everybody for listening, and just check out, you know, don't forget about me. Just go over to local.earshot.com and drop me a note, or, you know, just hit me up on all those socials. But thank you for listening.